is an ever-expansive space where we can do whatever we want. Physics doesn't know what's happening there. We don't know what's happening there. And we're, as a human race, curious of what's happening there. I'm going to talk about what we will do, what we are doing right now, and what we have done so far. So I'm going to start from the beginning, the space program. Right when we were interested in space, there was a space race to get to the moon. Who could get to the moon the fastest? And we, as the United States, achieved that first. And that is a great thing. We achieved that and we proved to the world, as the United States of America, how much of a superpower we were. And yes, that cost a lot of money. Yes, it was very expensive and it took a lot of time. Yes. But just referring to what we'll do in the future, this world is not sustainable. This planet, Earth, is not sustainable. In a few 100 billion years, the sun will engulf the Earth, so we'll have to get off this planet to survive as a human race. But going back to how this all began. This all began when, at the start of time, when humans realized that they were curious, when we could communicate with each other, when we could talk to each other. Then we said, what's out there? Galileo said, what's out there? And he was the person who, as a person, realized and said, we don't, the sun does not revolve around us, but we revolve around the sun. And he was punished for that. But as time moves on, and as we realize more about what's in space and what's out there, and what we play, or the role that we play in it, in the grand scheme of things in the universe, we want to get out there more. We've sent up many, many probes, we've sent up satellites, we've sent up so many things into space. But the ultimate thing we haven't sent up into space is everyone else. We haven't sent all of us. Any human who's been in space as an astronaut, who's only been to the space station, and only a handful of people have ever been to the moon, 2 or 3. But we need, as a human race, to work together to get into space. Now, what's happening right now? SpaceX, Blue Horizons, and NASA are all huge players in this idea of getting into space and space exploration. Boeing is also working on a program, or not program, a actual capsule that can actually go from the International Space Station and crash back into Earth and safely deposit astronauts back on Earth safely in a manner that doesn't hurt them or anything like that. And so is SpaceX. And that's what's happening right now. We're trying to improve our system so that we can go to Mars. We have the technology, we have the means, but we just don't have the people. No one wants to go onto Mars and not have an escape plan. SpaceX is actually saying that they can actually take a person to Mars and let them live there for 8 years right now. But they have not found a person who is mentally stable enough to actually go there and actually do that. As we all know, if we're alone for a long period of time, or if we're trapped on one place in a long period of time, we're all going to go crazy. That's inevitable. But the idea of going onto Mars and surviving there is something that all of humanity wants to do. We want to live there. We want to explore. It's just the human biology, the brain, has the curiosity of wanting to go out and do something that we don't know what the exact answer will be. We want to do that. And as a human race, we're going to, in the future. The future holds for us a lot of things. And the most important thing is global warming and carbon emissions. China is the biggest contributor to carbon emissions in the world. They pollute the world the most. And as they do, we need to actually tell them not to so we can live longer on Earth. But we also need to realize that it's inevitable for us to pollute this planet, and it's inevitable for us to have to leave this planet. And the sooner we realize that we have to leave this planet and that we have to go somewhere else and survive as a nomadic species, the sooner we'll realize that these companies such as SpaceX, Boeing, Blue Horizons, and NASA are the future of humanity, the future of who we are as a human race. If NASA has actually said in 20 or 30 years, they will find evidence for alien life. And when we do that, we need to be able to go to them and make peace with them in a sense, but also be able to communicate with them and be able to get there in a safe way. And the future holds for us so many things in space, especially the idea of going on as a nomadic species because the Earth is not sustainable. And this is a huge factor. All these countries at the Paris Summit about global warming have come to an accord about what we want to do with the global warming, and they've actually reached an ambitious but realistic goal of what they want to do with global warming and how to stop it and how to improve the Earth's climate. That is great, that's great, but it's not enough. at any point in time to do anything. There's no such thing as a perfectly sustainable world. There's no such thing as that. And so we need to realize that and say we need to live on here as long as possible and live on this planet as long as possible so that we don't have to leave and we can have the technology and a safe way to do it, and we're not forced to leave this planet because we have air that's unbreathable and water that's undrinkable. But we need to realize that we need to leave this planet, and the sooner we realize that, the sooner we'll invest in the companies that can do that for us and invest in the future of the human race. Thank you.